Hello and welcome back. Last time, we talked with the Loperates some more, and they're really worried that we didn't like their stuff, but it's just that, we'd rather save the world than abandon it. So Urianje's going to stay with them and help them prepare in case we do have to evacuate, while the rest of us are going to go back and try to save the world. Returning home. With the Loperates in Urianje's capable hands, we needn't worry about affairs here in our absence. Knowing now the face of their earthly collaborators, there's much to discuss with Alphino and the others. Let us return to the Tower of Babel. Our battle for the star will soon begin in earnest, and we must be prepared. Well, let's do that. Why am I walking? Yes, we will go through the Nether Gate. Hello, Thancred. Gods, I can scarcely believe we went to the moon and back. But we'll have time to reflect on that later. Right now, we need to head back to Camp Broken Glass and deliver a thoroughly detailed report to Lucia. I'd like very much to know how everyone is getting on here as well. They'd only just begun to treat the tempered prisoners when we left. I share your curiosity, but warning our allies of the final days is of greater importance. I speak not only of the contingent, of course. The heads of state of every nation must know what we have learned. We know not when or where or in what manner the final days will begin to manifest, so we must see that everyone is prepared. Agreed, though we may wish to stress the importance of discretion, lest the public be sent into a panic. Not that anyone in a position of responsibility should need to be told as much, but it bears repeating. Anyway, first things first, to Camp Broken Glass. Alright. To Camp Broken Glass we go. Not gonna put my coat back on. It's good to see you all again. No worse for your lunar adventure, I hope. We've done what we can for now, and believe me, we intend to tell you all about it. But before we do, might you tell us what's become of Garlemald in our absence? We succeeded in subduing the Tempered inside the Tower of Babel. We took many alive, but combined with those who were already in our custody, the number requiring care has grown exponentially. The inclement conditions here have made it difficult, if not impossible, to treat them all here, and so we have petitioned the aid of the allied nations. Some are understandably hesitant to proffer assistance, particularly those that were but recently subject to imperial occupation. That said, several others have agreed to grant them refuge for treatment. With the assistance of your fellow scions, we endeavor to see them safely transported and subsequently cured of their temper. Will all the tempered be relocated? Not all, no. We have sufficient shelter to attend to those whose treatment has begun, and enough healers have volunteered to remain until their patients have recovered. Ulyss is one such patient, though he is not yet fit to receive visitors. Truth be told, it was a miracle he and those in his company were not harmed in the chaos. If not for Alphino and Alize's timely assistance, I dare say none of them would be with us today. In light of recent developments, have the Alliance leaders come to any decisions regarding Garlemald? Given the tremendous ramifications of what has happened here, it will take time to determine what must be done. In the meantime, they intend to work with the Eastern Alliance to keep a close watch over the provinces. We have other news to share. Shortly after Anima was defeated, we received reports that each and every tower has vanished. For a mercy, the process was apparently not quite as violent as that you experienced in Thavner. Those who were trapped within them have been rescued and are receiving treatment. To hasten this endeavor, the beast tribes have received instruction in the magics needed to cure Temple. Master Matoya is no doubt thrilled the Mother Porksy affords her so many visitors. Yes, we are grateful for her ongoing efforts, as well as those of our comrades near and far. As for the contingent, several of our members have been granted leave to return to their homelands after the transfer of Template has been completed. Makes sense. Lucia and I will remain, along with a small force, to continue offering aid to those here in Garlemald. The Empire may be no more, but there are yet those who call these lands home. I believe that accounts for the recent events here. So, what of the moon and the Telophoroi? Well, about that. See, Zodiark's dead now, and we're about to have an apocalypse. The final days. Gods, I prayed your victory would mark the end of our troubles. There is still much we do not know, but the Alliance leaders must be told. Would you be willing to contact them in our stead? Yes, of course, I will send word forthwith. We'll also release your fellow scions from their present duties, that they may return to Charlian. Your energies are better spent finding a means to avert the coming apocalypse. Speaking of your fellow scions, you will be happy to hear that Mistress Kryl, though still on the mend, has been moved to the Beldessian Annex and given into Tataru's care. Thank you. I look forward to seeing them both upon our return. Let us be on our way, then. One last thing, if I may. After your confrontation with Zodiark, you said Xenos took his leave, and in all likelihood has returned here to Garlemald. I have a mind to dispatch scouts to try and ascertain his whereabouts, but first wish to ask if you believe there is merit in doing so. If they found him, they would not likely live to tell the tale. If you're expecting a trail of destruction to follow, you won't find one, or an admirable but futile endeavor. We'll do the middle one. If you're expecting a trail of destruction, you won't find one. Aye, you are the only foe he considers worthy. And even if my men found him, who but you could even hope to bring low that monster? Pray forget I entertained the notion. While on the subject of Xenos, the 10th Legion has made an official proclamation. They denounce the Crown Prince and condemn his role in the Empire's downfall. His very title has become a source of shame among his former subjects, and its continued use serves only to hinder relations with foreign nations. For this reason, he has been declared Xenos Viator Galmus, outcast and enemy of Garlemald. Daniel is no more, and now his own people turn against him. Seems he's not but his bloodlust to keep him company. Better that than an army to see it sated. At any rate, I will not keep you longer. I pray you safe passage back to Charlotte. Well, back to Charlian then. And since we're back in Charlian, that means an outfit change. Where'd it go? There it is. Kryl and Tataru. Welcome back, Asuka. We were so terribly worried about you. Though with his plane I have caused my own fair share of worry, and for that I apologize. Heidelin called to me that day when you entered the Tower of Babel. Her pleas were faint, but desperate, and I knew at once she required a vessel to carry out her will. What came after feels like a dream barely remembered, my body flowing through the life stream toward Garlemald. When I regained consciousness, I was all aches and frostbite, exhausted of ether, So exhausted, in fact, I could only laugh, for it was in that moment I understood Raha's weariness from the Tower of Zod. Would that I could laugh at a time like this. Though we prevented Zodiac from being unleashed upon the world, I am curious to know what else took place there on the moon. Oh, tons of stuff. Perhaps we should wait for the others to join us before you give your account. Let us reconvene in the main hall once they've arrived. I believe the designated location for waiting. Yep, it's in here. Dun, dun. Where's Allie's at? There she is. Sorry to have kept you all waiting. Not at all. We understand you've been quite busy. Will Urianger be joining us? Nope. Duty keeps him away, I'm afraid, though Oscar can explain why better than I. So Zodiark's dead, there's rabbits on the moon, and we're all gonna die. The final days, as befell Amarant. And we are to escape via the moon. What of the source and its reflections? I've no intention of standing by while the world falls to ruin. So, how do we stop this? Unfortunately, we have no answers at present. If the celestial currents have grown stagnant, as was the case in the time of Amarant, the solution will be to alter the flow of ether throughout the entirety of the star. The ancients accomplished this by summoning Zodiac, sacrificing half the star's population in the doing. But it should go without saying that such a sacrifice cannot be repeated. Which leaves us with the daunting task of identifying the underlying catalyst of the final days, a feat which even the Amoratines could not accomplish. Unfortunately, we found no clues in Mare Lamentorum. There is still much we do not know about the catastrophe itself, let alone what may have caused it. The final days were marked by the corruption of the Amoratines' creation magics, but we command no such power. Which invites the question, what havoc is in store for us? If we knew that much, perhaps we could draw some parallel with the events of the past and thereby form some semblance of a plan. Perhaps we should start with the Forum then. Having worked with the Loperites in secret all this time, there's surely more they can tell us. Forgive the interruption, but I've urgent news. The Forum is holding a public assembly in the plaza outside, some sort of announcement. What is Father up to now? There's only one way to find out.
Order! Order, I say! I thank you all for gathering here on such short notice. This day we must speak of grave affairs and their implications for the future of Charlian, nay, of this very star. Said affairs concern all citizens. So we have called for a public assembly. You may have heard rumors of the Talopheroi and the havoc these madmen wreak abroad. Under normal circumstances, we would pay little heed to petty disturbances outside our borders. The final days, however, are another matter altogether. For we dare not ignore these prophetic words of Eld. The End-Bearers will come, ushering chaos and calamity. The final days descend and devour the very stars.
I guess they can talk about it now.
I've never heard this prophecy.
Is it true? Will all that really happen?
Calm yourselves. The time has come to speak of the Forum's most sacred duties. But first...
Give voice to the voiceless. Let bindings be unbound. By unanimous decree, I declare the enchantment broken.
Master Le Veilleur, if you would.
Very well. "270 years ago, our forebears began an expedition in the Dravanian hinterlands, in search of a route to access the ethereal sea. This much is public knowledge. Their findings, however, would become the Forum's most closely guarded secret. What those researchers discovered in the hinterlands was not a passage unto the ethereal sea, but the very heart of our star, and Hydaelyn herself. She spoke to them of a calamity that would extinguish all life, and of a means by which we might be spared. The moon. 'Tis in truth a gargantuan vessel built to serve as sanctuary for her children and deliver them from this doom. Much like Nunkref's hope in ages past, it will bear the people of a world in the throes of death to a new home.
Needless to say, this will be no small undertaking. To facilitate the great work, the Forum has maintained close contact with the servants of Hydaelyn, who presently reside on the moon. Convinced that the foretold end was all but inevitable, we began amassing a wealth of knowledge, not merely for the betterment of our nation, but in preparation for the journey to come.
You reveal this to us now? By the gods, how long do we have?
While we cannot say with certainty, we believe the hour to be nigh. We received a transmission from the moon suggesting as much not long ago. Which is why we must in earnest begin preparations for the Great Exodus. For his impressive contributions, and the leadership he demonstrated during our withdrawal from Dravania, we have elected Master Le Veilleur to oversee this initiative.
Fellow scribes and scholars, my countrymen, we face a threat of unprecedented scale. We must challenge the trials before us with composure and conviction if we are to find salvation. The wisdom of Sharlayan has ever been a shining beacon in the darkness, and so it shall continue to be. It is our solemn charge to see our heritage preserved for future generations. For those who will come after, we will brave a new frontier.
Administrative edicts will be relayed to all major institutions ere long. In the meantime, carry on with your duties. With that, I hereby call this assembly to a close.
Well then. Now everyone in Charlian knows.
Do you remember what Mother told us when we visited home? That it wasn't until after we were born that Father seemed to lose himself in his work. If that great work of his was the evacuation of this star, then...
Yes. It wasn't for his benefit. Would you mind waiting here a moment? I wish to speak with Father before we leave.
Take your time.
Thank you. I shan't be long.
If it's all the same to you, I have a few choice words to share with Father as well.
So, come to call us cowards and bid us join your fruitless battle against the inevitable.
Nay, we do not object to the Forum's proposal. On the contrary, those who wish to flee have every right to do so. Urianger is cooperating with your associates on the moon to ensure that all is ready should evacuation be our only recourse.
Then whatever your business, I suggest you be brief.
Though we cannot boast the boundless wisdom of Charlian, we have first-hand knowledge of foreign cultures and have conversed with no small number of peoples. These experiences have taught us fundamental truths that cannot be recorded in any tome, nor charted on any map. The beating heart of this planet is its people, many of whom would give anything, even their lives, to protect the lands they love. Many may choose to join you in the end. But what of those unwilling or unable, for whom escape will never be an option? What would you have them do? To ignore the plight of those one might conceivably save is not wisdom, Father. It is indolence.
Ooh. Quoting Louis Soir.
This is why we choose to fight.
We'll not ask for your understanding, Father. Only that you don't turn a blind eye to the good we have done. That we can still do. We're not children in need of protection. Hold fast to your principles and let the world burn if it please. But we believe there is still another way. And if there is, we will find it. You see if we don't.
Do as you will. Just stay out of our way.
Oh, Fortuno. Still a dick.
Were he not so consumed with self-righteousness, he might tell you how proud he is of you both.
What?
Bold words call for bold action. And there'll be no turning to your father should plans go awry.
As if I ever would. So long as there are those who wish to stay and fight for this star, we have to do what we can to help them.
And if we're to do that, we'll need to be well rested. Wouldn't you agree? And having triumphed over what we once thought to be the source of all evil, I can think of no one in greater need of at least a dozen winks.
Shall we then? To the Annex, to prepare for tomorrow.
Alright. Back to the Baldessian Annex. Kyle tells me the Forum made a rather momentous announcement, so there's to be a great exodus, is there? I'm reminded of my narrow escape from the Isle of Vale. The realization, the running, the mixture of relief, regret after. Why me, I ask myself. Why me? Why us? Why now? Why wonder? There's no use fretting over the cosmic morality or lack thereof. We're here, and we'll get through this together. And who knows, maybe my luck will rub off and grant everyone a narrow escape. There's no harm in praying for as much. Oh, but enough of my rambling. I'm sure you're exhausted. Your chamber awaits. Someone's knocking. Whoever could it be? So, like the one in Shadowbringers, where we picked Lurik, we have to pick one of the Scions, and we'll get a visit from whoever we pick, and we only get to see one without going into the cutscene log. There's like a book in your in rooms that you can look at cutscenes with, but I don't know exactly which cutscene this is. So Estinian's is funny. Y'shtola's is, you know, kind of doom and gloomy. I thought when I first played through this that I'd get to go down the whole list, so I got stuck with Alphino, and his is inspirational. Let's go with Graha. We haven't talked to Graha in a while.
Oh, apologies. I didn't mean to... If you could spare a moment before bed. Thank you. I fear this may be the last quiet night we have to talk for quite some time. I am troubled of late. Unwarranted concerns, perhaps. I hope. Nevertheless, I feel compelled to share them with you. Though you have bested your enemies thus far, Xenos and even Zodiac, your victories have come at a considerable cost to yourself. No one is without their limits, and you are no exception. I worry the added weight of the final days will prove more than you can bear. It is surely too much for any one woman.
That's what I got all of you for.
But you needn't bear it alone. Let me share your burden.
Okay, Samwise.
My, carrying capacity pales in comparison to yours, but I could still help. Shoulder the occasional satchel from your ever-growing mountain of, baggage. You have already done so much to help relieve me of mine own encumbrances. 'Tis only fair that I repay you in kind. Of course, it needn't be only troubles we share. Moments of joy may seem few and far between now, but there will come a time when we look back fondly on this journey. The inquiry at the Forum, our march through the snows of Garlemald, our impromptu dinner in this very room. All of it. And that is to say nothing of the journeys yet to come, to the ends of the world and beyond. But tomorrow will be no less busy than today, and I've kept you from your rest long enough. Sleep well, my friend.
So Estinian's the only one who actually comes into the room, and then he leaves through the window because he's Estinian. Y'shtola asks how we offended the gods enough for our soul to look so absolutely terrible. Not 100% sure what everyone else says. Alphino has an inspiring speech, as usual. A short while earlier in the Alamegan Quarter.
Thank the gods that tower is gone. The sight of it was enough to make me sick.
Thank the Ilsebar contingent, more like. Word is, they fought their way into Garlemald and toppled the bloody thing themselves. Not just the one, neither. All the towers have up and vanished.
Aye, I heard the same. Commander Aldin and his troops helped keep casualties to a minimum, too. But is it true? They brought back tempered Garlean soldiers.
As Commander Aldin tells it, they've a treatment for that now. But don't you worry. Cured or not, they've no plans to bring them into the city proper.
I see. Well, that's a relief then. I know we've brothers and sisters among the lot, but I can't say I'm eager to welcome them home.
Wanted to think about it for a while yet. They're to be looked after in Alagana for the time being.
Uh-oh. That's a new color of weird energy we haven't seen before. Meanwhile, in Ishgard. Oh, it's Erenville. How you doing, Erenville?
Another day, another commission of paramount importance. Well, what have we here? Hey, are you all right? Was that? No. The shadows play tricks, nothing more. The towers are gone, and the Garlean threat is abated. And yet, why does it feel as though it's about to get much, much worse?
Because we're not even halfway through the expansion. Uh-oh. Oh, now we are halfway through the expansion. You're just standing here. That little chair next to her name means she's away from keyboard. She just left her character there. So. Oh. Someone in, my free company, who I know, where's the hug emote? Hugged me while I was in the cutscene. They saw that I was in the cutscene, so they knew I'd see the hug in the chat when I got out of it. Okay, not the button I wanted. This one. So, oh, while we're in this screen, this is all of the chapters for the main story, and then here's the raids. So we've got the ones like Eden that were just a series of fights, as opposed to the Alliance raids like the Crystal Tower, which are all like the large 24-person things. The ones from the other expansions so far don't have a huge tie-in to the main story. Like the one from Shadowbringers is the entire series of raids is a crossover event with Nier Automata, a different game from Square Enix. These are different trials, eight-man fights again, but like with their own side story attached to them. These are a series of like different sorts of side content, like Hildebrand and his investigations, which are all comedy. And then the Roll Master quest is for Shadowbringers and Endwalker. After you've done the role quests for all the different combat roles, there's a quest to tie them all together. Void quests are a thing for after the Shadowbringers role quests. It continues that story a little bit more. And then here's all the tank quests. So there's different quest lines for the individual tanks, and then the role quests from Shadowbringers and Endwalker. Same with healers and damage, the DPS role classes. Shadowbringers just puts physical all in one, and then range or magic in one. Endwalker split melee and ranged physical into two separate stories, and then there's magic. Then you can do the same thing for Crafters and Gatherers, but I have not done those quests at all, really. So at some point we might go back and do some of those various, at least the role quests. But alright, part 2 of Endwalker. Alright, where's our next quest? In here. Hello, Tataru. Sky's aflame. Oh, Asuka, I was just about to call for you. I'm afraid we received another call from assistance. This one comes from Radzithan. The others have assembled in the main hall to discuss the situation. You must join them at once. Okay. Ah, there you are. Our worst fears have come to pass, but moments ago we received grim tidings from our contact in Radzatan. Vile beasts have appeared as if out of nowhere, claiming one victim after the next. What's more, they say the very sky burns above them. Good gods, are the final days already upon us? It would appear so. Sadly, this is all the information we have at present. No doubt the people of Radzatan are busy fighting for their lives. Then we must go at once. They need our help. Agreed. Agreed. Kyle, you'd best remain here with Tataru and gather what knowledge you can. You're in no condition for a long journey, I imagine. Very well. Similar phenomena may have been observed elsewhere, and if so, we must know about it at once. Be safe out there, yes? Let us make first for Yedlamad. We must prepare ourselves for what may lie ahead. Ah, my stupid nose. My nose is experiencing the final days. Alright. To Yedlamad.
And lo, vile beasts did rise. Leaving naught in their wake but blood and ash. Sun scorches earth and boils seas. And our sins ascend unto the heavens. Three dooms to unmake all we were.
The sky burns. The final days are truly upon us.
My friends, I trust you have heard the news.
We have. What can you tell us of the situation, Your Excellency?
Last night, the Isle was rocked by tremors, and the earth itself cried out. Aloft, the heavens began to burn. From all about, unholy beasts, the likes of which we had never seen, came forth in fury and rage. No. To say they came forth would be inexact. The people of Radzatan themselves transformed into these baleful fiends.
Oh.
Though the phenomenon was observed throughout our lands, the first creature, the largest and most dreadful of the lot, wrought havoc upon us here in our fair city. Though they bear superficial resemblance to divinities of legend, they are ungodly abominations. The people decry them as blasphemies. The large one's rampage has since taken it to the northern reaches of the island. I mean to dispatch our radiant host in an attempt to quell the threat.
And what of Vritra?
Vritra too makes for the north of his own accord, and yet he knows the blasphemy and its minions were but yesterday his beloved people. I pray his boundless compassion and mercy does not deter him from taking unenviable but necessary action.
Understood. I ask that you allow us to aid you in quelling this threat.
You would risk your lives to help us yet again? I have no words to express my gratitude. Our regiments approach the north from several directions, with a number of units set to depart from the docks of Yedlimad. They will make landfall in an area of dense jungle, where one can expect to encounter dangers even beyond the fell beasts we hunt. I leave you to your preparation. You will find me at the docks when you are ready to depart.
We're as prepared as we'll ever be. Let's go.
Iowa? Everyone has assembled, yes. I thank you for lending us your aid in our battle against the blasphemy. Let us review our plan of attack. I would have you board this boat and circle around to the north side of the island. There you will find a dense jungle we call Vanaspati. It is a sacred wood, home to many temples and a number of villages. Vritra and the Radiant Host have gone there ahead of us. I ask that you join them and do all in your power to destroy this blasphemy. Alright, we are gonna cut this episode a tad short so that we don't go extra long with this dungeon. So when we come back, we will go to Vanaspati.